Hello and welcome. My name is Sarah Healy. I'm a Specialist Senior Educational Psychologist for Warwickshire Educational Psychology Service. Today's session is a short webinar for parents and carers of children who are starting school for the very first time. Today's webinar is one of 3 that we have developed in a short series focusing on supporting school transitions. So in this first session, we're looking at the preschool to reception transition. In our second webinar, we focus on entrance into primary school and the exit from primary school to secondary. In the final webinar, we look at the start of secondary school and the transition out of secondary school at the end of year 11 into post-16. We hope you find today really useful as an opportunity to think about the ways in which you can support your child to prepare for this exciting but perhaps slightly daunting new start in September. So thank you for joining us. It's perhaps pertinent to start with a bit of self-reflection to think about how you are feeling about this move. Many of the parents that we speak to about this time in the year are quite excited and confident about the move to a primary or an infant school. But there are some families and some parents who are feeling a little bit more apprehensive and a little bit more uncertain about what the transition might bring. And that is completely normal and to be completely expected. There will be a range of feelings and a range of emotions thinking about what this transition brings. I'm really hopeful that by the end of the session today, you might have nudged up maybe 1 mark on the scale and be feeling a little bit more reassured and a little bit more prepared about what the changes might be and how you can prepare both yourself and your child for September and the new start. Change isn't something that is new to our children. Over the last 4 years, many of the children that we're thinking about right now will have had lots of opportunities and exploration. Some of them might have been to baby and toddler groups. Some children might have been to preschools, nurseries, childminders. Some might have had new siblings, new family members, new friendships along the way, and been engaged in lots of new activities. So it's from this secure base that's on the visual there that our children feel confident and able to go out and explore the world, to develop in themselves. And it's in the knowledge that they can return and come back to you to share in all those exciting opportunities and to seek reassurance and support when things don't quite go to plan. So starting school is the next phase and the next step in that exploration, and they will always come back to you. So thinking about what opportunities is a really important starting point for that moving to school. Thinking about the positives, thinking about what could be available to children as they start in their new school environment is a really important step. And there might be things that you have thought of in terms of perhaps new opportunities to meet new friends, new opportunities to meet new teachers, to learn new things. And that would be consistent with what lots of parents think. These are some of the thoughts from parents that we've worked with in some of our research that was taken place over the last couple of years. And themes around learning in terms of their academics, their phonics and their maths, as well as their emotional and social skill development has been reflected. Opportunities for children to grow and to become more independent has been referenced. And it might be that you're thinking about new opportunities like wearing a new uniform, having a new lunch, going on a school trip. There's lots of exciting things and changes that are about to happen for our children. Some of the parents also reflected on opportunities that were going to happen for them individually and for their family as a whole. So for some families, children might be now entering a setting where they have siblings already attending. It might be as well that it's going to make life a lot easier for you with having just one school run in the morning. It could be an opportunity that you have personally to rejoin or start a career It could be an opportunity to retrain and reclaim some of that time for yourself after putting that into your childcare over the last few years. So there's lots of opportunities to be thinking about for both yourself, your children and your family as a whole. So what do we know helps our children to be prepared and ready to start school in the best way possible? So knowing about the school is really important. Looking at photos on the website, walking past, attending the visits, the meet and greets, going to open days, which lots of you will already have done, just helps our children to become more familiar with the new experiences that they're going to have and the place that they're going to be spending a lot of their time. Knowing what support is available from the school can really help you to know what to expect. And thinking about friendships and opportunities for both yourself to network with parents and for our children to develop relationships with other children. That's a really protective factor in helping the success at the start of school. And it might be for some of you that you know that there's a small group of children all going up together, which is a wonderful experience and a really exciting opportunity. For some of you, you might be new to the area or going to a completely different school to some of the other children locally, and you think, oh my goodness, this is, my child is going to be starting on their own. They won't be alone. There's lots of children who will be in a similar situation, and there's going to be plenty of opportunities to begin forging those relationships and that network. It's really important for us as the adults involved to be as positive and optimistic as possible, to view this change as positively as we can, because that helps to alleviate some of the worry and stress that our children might be experiencing at this time. And we know that good attendance is also a protective factor. When we're thinking about starting somewhere new, what helps us to kind of get used to the new systems and the structures in place is to be there day in, day out, kind of getting used to the new routines and the new expectations. Immersing ourselves in the learning and the social activities can really help. Of course, we can't plan and predict and prevent illness or other issues happening, but where we can, keeping to the timetable is going to be a really protective factor for our children in terms of their success starting school. Another success and another way to support that transition is going to be how we support our children to become more independent. Now, independence varies according to our child's age, and as they get older, more and more demands are placed upon their development and on their independence. So as they get older, an increase in being able to work independently or to seek help or to manage difficulties that arise within social relationships, that's going to be expected. At this age, we're thinking more about independence in what children can do for themselves. So is it ways that they can dress themselves so they can get changed for PE and get out to the activities as quickly as possible? Is it that they can put their coat on and take it off so they're into break time and back out as seamlessly as possible? It might be that it's around personal responsibility and looking after that book bag that they might be given, knowing where to put it when they get to school and knowing to bring it home and then where to put it so they know where to get it the next day. Little bits of independence that they could be working on in fun ways over the summer. Practicing some of these skills might be a really helpful opportunity to prepare them for that move to school. Also thinking about ways that we could support their resilience and their problem solving. So when things don't go to plan, sometimes you might have heard of the word resilience but not know what that means. It's that in spite of difficulties and challenges that happens, our ability to overcome these, to cope and to bounce back. So what can really help our children is helping them to notice what their strengths and their skills, those unique personal qualities that they bring to a situation, that can really help them to bounce back when difficulties arise. Thinking about what they've overcome in the past, and if there's been a similar situation in the past, reminding them of that. You know, I think when you did that, when that happened last time, you did this. that can be really helpful to kind of bolster that resilience and support some of that problem solving. Reminding them of the support networks that they have in place. So reminding them of the parents and the caregivers, family members that are available, as well as teaching and support staff at school, and maybe even friendship networks. There are lots of people who they could seek support from. And a reminder too that asking for help is actually a really positive skill and something that is really helpful in that problem solving. We should also be helping our children in their problem solving and decision making. At this age, they're not able to do that independently. So a lot of the time we will be providing some options and helping them to navigate what is and isn't a suitable choice. If we present a couple of options, it can be really empowering for a child to make a decision and give it a go. And then it can be really supportive for us to sit with them and reflect, was that useful? And how did you feel when you made that choice? And would you make that choice again? It can help to, again, support that independence and that ability to problem solve on our own. Now, I'm going to hand you over for a few moments to a colleague of mine, Nikki Burton, who is a head teacher at some preschools in Warwickshire. Nikki is incredibly experienced and brings a wealth of knowledge. So she's going to be really reassuring and supportive and giving you lots of top tips in her video clip here.
Hello, I'm Nikki Burton. I'm head teacher at 2 of our Warwickshire maintained nursery schools. I've been working in early years education for 15 years now, and I've been asked today to talk to you about transition, that amazing stage when our children move from our nursery settings through to our schools, whether that be a primary or an infant school. The first thing to consider when thinking about transition is how we keep it positive. From a nursery setting, from a childminder perspective, and from a parent and carer perspective. It's a big step for us all. I'm going to talk as an educator, but also as a parent, because I've gone through this stage with my 2 boys too. So please keep positive. Our children listen to what we say. They feel our emotions. So even inside as a parent, you'll be worried, concerned. They're going to big school. It's the next step of their journey, and it's an exciting one. So things you can be doing, just some tips to really consider that will really help with that transition. Think about at the moment, while the days are brighter, maybe on your journey home, walk past your new school, drive past, point it out, share all those positives. You can see the artwork in the classroom, you can see the staff cars in the car park. Really make it a familiar place so that your children get to know that environment. Think about what books you could be reading. In our settings now during this term, we'll be looking at transition books, books focused on moving to school. Our libraries, our local libraries have such a range of books, so please go and borrow some. Ask your settings if you can borrow some books. My boys love Topsy Turvy, Moving to School. That was the best book for them. So do read at bedtime, make it fun, really capture how exciting that school transition is going to be. Consider now open days and attend to them. You're going to get lots of letters from your new schools, meetings for you as parents and carers, settling days for your children to attend. Absolutely make sure they happen. It's a really good way for you to form a relationship with the school, with your child's new teachers, for the teaching assistants, and also for you to see what it looks like inside the school. For your child, for them to go and have a play and stay session, to form those relationships with the children they're going to be with, for the class teachers and the teaching assistants they're going to have, to see where they're going to have lunch. Really, really important. And again, it will get them to have that familiar. Then when you come to September, it won't be a new place because they've already got memories of being there and a relationship with the school and the people in it. Summer holidays, what can you be doing during that period? Again, as I said, do small drive-bys, walk past the school, school uniform. So once you purchase your school uniform, pop it in the washing machine, make sure it's not all rough, get it all soft, and just give your children a chance to put it on. Let them feel what it's like to wear it. Then on the day in September when they first put it on their first day, it will be familiar, so it won't feel like a big change. If they have a school bag, a book bag, please start using that, get them to put their things in it, maybe play with it, and then again it will become a familiar before their first day. Independent skills, so at nurseries, in our childminders, in our private settings, we'll be now thinking about what things we can be doing now to support things like putting their own coats on, fastening their shoes, just really gaining that independent skills. So please do that at home, make it fun, and that will help with that journey to their next pathway. Look at the school's websites. Our schools have got amazing websites. They've got loads of photographs on them. Really look at those and really share the people, maybe the teacher they're going to have, the teaching assistants they're going to have, there might be a photograph. Please do look at those. It will really help. It will make it familiar again for that first day in September. A bit of a reminder really, that first day, we really need to be positive, be engaged, and show our child that actually this is the first exciting day of their next journey with their new school. Inside, as a parent and carer, you might be feeling all wobbly, but that's okay, you will get through it. And there's so many other parents and carers feeling exactly the same as you. But if we can keep a smile, that will help our child on that day. The first few weeks, they're going to be so tiring. So your child will come home and they probably won't talk about school, and that's okay. They're just tired. They're using so much energy. They've got to make new friends. They're having lunches that they may not have had before. For our children who only have 15 hours in nursery or no nursery experience, it's a big day for them. So please don't worry when they're not talking about school loads. It doesn't mean they're not enjoying it, it just means they're tired. You find we'll get to October half term and that will re-energise them, and then they'll come back. Some children might struggle that first week back after half term, but that's okay. They've had a week at home. Again, do all those things in half term, walk past the school, familiar with uniform again, just so they know they're going back after that week off. If your child's at nursery or with their childminder, make sure they have a proper last goodbye, because that goodbye, that last day will give them that view and that visual to say goodbye and move on to their next. So really, really important to do that. Children who've got SEND or children with special educational needs, there is a wealth of support for the transition into school. So please call the SENCO of the school and they will offer you maybe an extra visit. They'll talk through your child's needs. We'll be doing that in all our settings too. So please, you've got a lot of options if you're worried or have got any extra questions. And finally, really for me to say, you know, in nursery settings, oh, it's the hardest time for us too. We never want to say goodbye to our children. It's the hardest thing. But again, we stay positive, we make the positive, we share all the positive outcomes with the children. We share that their journey and the next pathway is going to be exciting. So we'll be helping you do that too. Thank you.
Okay. I really hope you feel reassured and well supported. Nikki was so passionate in how she spoke about the transition and what you can do to support, and that you're not alone and that there are so many parents in a similar situation. So just a few summary kind of points on the slide to recap some of those messages that I mentioned to start with and that Nikki has gone on to elaborate. Really, it is a really exciting time, and making connections with the school, having play dates in advance, having a calm kind of routine at the end of the holidays, and on that first day being prepared is going to help to make a really successful start for your child. Something that I don't think either of us have talked about yet is the importance of you having a plan for after you've dropped your child off. Sort of don't forget that, you know, you're going to be going on to perhaps something else. Maybe you're going for a coffee on your own or with a small group of people. Maybe you've got to go to work for the rest of the day, but make sure you've got something planned so that you know what you're going to go on to as well. Wow, so thank you, Nikki, such amazing top tips there as well. This is a slide that comes from the Young Minds website, and there are a number of themes here around some top tips for coping with change, and it's across all age groups really. And so there's the link on the slide because some of the information is quite small if you want to go and pursue that yourself. But some themes around focusing on our health and well-being for our children, so thinking about diet and sleep and exercise, thinking about collaboration in terms of problem solving when issues arise, thinking about ourselves and ways that we can help to remain calm and co-regulate our children's needs when they are emotionally distressed. Finding ways that we can communicate with our children when they are really excited as well as when they are feeling more upset. Thinking of ways that we are the anchor for our children. I love that phrase, being an anchor, where we provide that consistency and that containment and that comfort and support in those times of change when there's new expectations and new people to meet. We can be there to provide that familiarity that they so need at this time as well. And something that's really important as well at the bottom on the right there, look after yourself. There's that analogy that we can't pour from an empty cup. We have to look after ourselves first before we can go on to look after others. So that's really important that we try and follow that as best we can. Something I've recently become aware of that I thought I would highlight in this webinar is our school health team, Compass, have been advertising the importance of all families with children who are starting school for the first time this September completing a school readiness health questionnaire. The link is again on the website here on the visual, and it takes you to a website that has got an introductory and explanatory video. And then you're sort of signposted to scroll down to the alphabet and find the initial letter for your school and click on the relevant link to that and complete that, even if you don't think that you and your child have any particular health concerns. It may be that they're able to signpost some additional support, but it's something that's just come out and you might have received that notification elsewhere, but something else to explore in terms of that transition support available to you. So finally, after Nikki's incredibly wise words and some information from me too, how are you feeling now? How are you feeling about your child starting school in September? Are you slightly further up the scale towards the somewhat or even very confident? Hopefully today we've given you a range of strategies to think about both now and over the next few months before your child starts school, but also on that first day and those first few weeks of school, things to think about, what might be happening for them and ways that you can support that transition. So a huge thanks to my colleague Nikki for her very supportive words, and all that's left to do is really to wish you all incredible success and the very best for helping your child to start school. Thank you very much for taking part in today's webinar.